What's up, world? It's your boy Tommy Mav, and I came to basically uh, come in and just go off on this whole Brooklyn Nets situation. Because everything that I was angry about possibly happening is now all of a sudden happening, and it's like amazing to me why how people can be so stupid. Okay, so I used to do a wrestling podcast a couple years ago, and when I would do it, I would have these just like roast sessions where I would just go off, and I'm thinking, and this is one of the few times, like I said, one of the reasons why I stopped doing podcasts is because stuff like this. I don't like being angry. But when I am angry, it's like cathartic to just come on and just let loose, right? One of the things I'm really, really mad about now is not that I told you before. I saw what the Nets were going to be before anybody dumb enough to not see what the Nets were. I said, you're not analyzing basketball. What you're doing is you're seeing what you want to see. You're not seeing what's there. What's being showcased to you, you're ignoring at the prospect of doing that, but at the same time, you're just hurting LeBron James, right? But people like these people who are mad that, Lakers fans kind of celebrated too openly last year when, like Chris Broussard. And first I'm going to let you hear what they have to say. And then I'm going to come behind. I'll kind of argue back and forth with the things they say. And so I'll do that. But first, I have to bring back something I really haven't used since that time I'm talking about. And I'm going to drop that because I'm about to go off. And I'm going to try to pace myself and try to stay controlled. Because I get really, really upset and really angry about things that, to me, reward injustice. So, I'm a little mad. So, here we go.
Discussed on the show, James Harden was playing at an MVP level until he recently tweaked his hamstring. He's learned to be watching. So, Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard is with us now. Chris, can you see the Nets winning it all?
Jen, that's all I can see practically.
We start out with that first question. Do you see the Nets winning it all? Well, if you don't see them winning it all, there's something wrong with you. Now, I'm not saying the 76ers can still beat them. They're still very, very vulnerable in the low post, and you have a guy like Joel Embiid who could actually give them problems. Giannis can still give them problems. They really don't have. I mean, yes. KD and in LA are going to be very, very hard to bully around in the post. KD's 7 foot and he's a great help defender, meaning he's so long that he doesn't have to be in front of you. He can guard one player and then come off of that player, and he's so long that he can affect your shot even if he's guarding someone else because he's so long. He has like a 11 wingspan. So when he steps out, he can help and recover so well that it's real hard for you to even get a jump shot off. LA is more stout. So can he guard Joel Embiid one-on-one? No, but he doesn't have to because they don't really have any outside shooting. So they can double down on Joel Embiid. And who do you have left? You have Danny Green, who goes hot and cold, and Tobias Harris, and another guy that you basically have to pack the paint and Ben Simmons to beat. I'm sorry, you pack the paint. They can do that now. They can just put James Harden is about 6'6". You can put him in there too. You know what I'm saying? These big stout guys and pack the paint and force them to try to outshoot you from the 3-point line. You can do that with Aldridge. You couldn't do that with DeAndre Jordan because DeAndre Jordan wasn't the offensive threat that LaMarcus Aldridge is. He can't shoot the three. So they can work your big off the court if you keep going back and forth with him. So that's the problem I have. The Bucks can also beat them. With a healthy Tristan Thompson, the Celtics can beat them. But would I pick them to beat them? No. Only team I would probably, as I said, beat them, and that would take a hell of a game, hell of a series, and that's Joel Embiid and AD and LeBron. Those on two. But the problem with that is, I'll get into that later when these morons start talking. But what I really want to point out in this one, before I start to get mad, is the first question pissed me off. As if it's somehow a toss-up. That's like saying if Team USA joined the NBA against other regular teams and said, do you think it's a chance they can win the championship? Well, no duh. But the problem with that is they killed the fucking narrative for the season. They've killed the narrative. Okay, here's the problem. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and Harden have proved nothing. They haven't proven that they can win a championship. They haven't proven that they're good enough to win a championship. They've proven that you can put 5 people on a team that are all all-stars, 5 or 6 people, a 3-point champion and a deep bench, and put them all on one team and they can win a championship. Who didn't know that? If they won, nobody would be surprised. Who didn't know that if you put 5 all-stars on one team that they could beat other teams that don't have 5 all-stars? Nobody. Everybody knows that. There's nothing to be fucking impressed by in this scenario. So the most likely outcome is the most unfavorable outcome for the NBA. It's terrible for the NBA, okay? I'm sick and tired of people pointing out this shit, trying to act like it's what other people have done in the past when it's not. Only person who has ever done this is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is the only person who has ever done this. Alright? Stop saying it's like the people in the past. The Celtics would put themselves in good position, but their players weren't top 5 players. Kevin McHale was good. He was not a top 5 player. Parrish was good. He was not a top 5 player. They were just good players playing alongside top 5 players. You can even go back to LeBron and D-Wade. D-Wade and LeBron were top 5 players. Yes. But Kevin Bosh was not, Bosh, especially in the role that he was playing on the Miami Heat, was not a top 5 player. Okay? And they had no cap space. Because of what they did, they had to give up, for the star power they got, they had to give up everything else. So therefore it equaled out. That's why the Dallas Mavericks were able to beat them, because the Dallas Mavericks had volume while they had value. The Miami Heat had better players in the top 3 spots, but the Dallas Mavericks won the next 6 spots. That's why they beat them, because they had a huge problem. That's why the next year when they came back after the Mavericks beat them, they shored up their bench. Start adding a bunch of veteran players who could give them minutes off the bench, and that was the difference in them the year before against the Mavericks, in which they had no depth. They had no depth when LeBron and Will first got on the Heat. That's why the Mavericks beat them. I have no problem if it would have just been Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and they had the same problem that LeBron had. That is not stacking the deck. That is saying we're top heavy, but teams can still beat us. We're very flawed. The Miami Heat had little to no outside shooting, which they picked up the next year. They had no real center behind Bosh. That's why when Bosh got hurt, it was a huge problem. So the understanding needs to be there. The Heat were not that. Okay, so the only one they try to point to is saying LeBron went to the Heat, which I'm not gonna break down. If you're a moron who keeps saying that the Miami Heat did the same thing that Kevin Durant is doing with the Nets, Please understand, you are a moron. There is no other way around it. You are a moron, okay? There is no argument with a moron, okay? They don't look for logic. They look for ways to believe what they want to believe. And trying to speak to someone void of knowledge, using knowledge that they push away for the sake of their own ego, does not help your psyche. It doesn't help you in any way. Okay, they're not going to believe what you have to say anyways. And even if you tell them a million facts, they're going to give you alternative facts that make no fucking sense to anybody but them. But it still allows them to continue to keep believing what they want to believe. I don't argue when I realize a person is a moron. Okay, a moron is just a blight on society. Okay, they're just there to make society conform to them. They're not there to listen to anybody else. Okay, so anybody who wants to sit up there and tell you that LeBron James started the thing because him and D Wade and Bosh came together when there were already teams that had 3 or more All-Stars on them in the Spurs, the Nets had Vince Carter, Jason Kidd, Richard Jefferson, and Kenyon Martin. When they were going to the championship, the Lakers had Kobe, Paul, Lamar Odom, 6th man of the year, and Andrew Bynum, Shaq, Kobe. Like this, what LeBron and D Wade did. What was they came together? Other than that, that is not uncommon. Okay, Scottie Pippen and Jordan were better tandem than LeBron James and D Wade. They weren't a better synergy, but they were a better tandem individually. They were a way bigger matchup problem than Dwayne Wade and LeBron James ever could. Because Scottie Pippen at the time was a better 3-point shooter than either one, D Wade or LeBron. He was a better 3-point shooter than Jordan. Scottie Pippen was a matchup problem. He was 6'8" and could guard 1 through 4 and at times even 5. He could lock you down on defensive end and still give you about 6 assists and about 21 points on the other side with about 12 rebounds. He was LeBron before LeBron. So that Scottie Pippen was a top 10, if not a top 5 player at the time. The Bulls, he was probably a top 5 player at the time the Bulls were playing at the peak of their dynasty. D Wade and LeBron did nothing different than what had been going on before them. The only difference was they came together instead of waiting on a team to put them together. That is not what Kevin Durant did. Kevin Durant jumped on a team that won 73 games in a year that he knew other people couldn't compete with that. That's why they call him a snake, because he did something that he knew the rules only that season allowed him to do. If you take any other season, they would have had to give up their bench. They would have had to give up so many more players than they had for Kevin Durant if Kevin Durant hadn't have done what he did. But you take a 73-win team that, by all accounts, could have possibly won the championship, and you, the second best player in the league, jump on said team and expect anybody to beat that team is asinine. The same team that everybody was demanding beat them came back from 3-1. They were down 3-1 because the team that they were playing against already were a problem. You just had to hope they missed. And you threw enough things at them, slowed them down well enough that their shot didn't fall. But it's not like the Cavaliers were blowing the Warriors out when they came back from those 3-1. They just figured them out well enough to compete. Then you add Kevin Durant onto that system, and now even when you catch him in the half court, they just toss it to Kevin Durant, and he can beat anybody one-on-one because they can't double him. Who's gonna help off of Klay? Who's gonna help off Klay Thompson? Who's gonna help off of Steph Curry? Who's gonna help off of Draymond Green that can drive and kick it and running the whole point? Nobody. So Kevin Durant did something that was so snaky that it somehow gave him a championship that he didn't earn. Nobody was surprised that if you take a 7-3 win team and put the second best player in the league on a team, that they can win a championship. You have not proven anything. You have just wasted 3 years of basketball by proving what everybody already knew. Yet sitting around acting like you somehow were vindicated in your plight. You saw him did you see him with the trophy? Like he proven something? Hey bro, what did you prove? That if you jumped on a 73-win team that you could somehow beat a team that they barely beat the year before? I mean, they barely lost to the year before? Amazing! How great you are, Kevin Durant. You jumped on a team that should have won, by all accounts, the year before. And he's standing up there with the trophy like, give me my due. Boy, sit your ass down. Like nobody, like you. And what gets me is he doesn't get why it pisses people off. Actual fans of basketball, he doesn't understand why it pisses fans of basketball off. People who have watched basketball for the narrative, the stories, the matchups, the rivalries. He takes it all away. One player has taken that away for the last 4 or 5 years. The most intriguing year was last year when he didn't play. And I'm sorry if I'm getting loud. Please excuse me, because because when I think about how stupid you have to be to not get why he pisses people off, it's beyond me. For about 4 or 5 years, he's killed the narrative in basketball when nobody wondered who would win a championship. Nobody wondered who the best. You couldn't figure it out. You can't figure out who the best player in the league is anymore. You can't figure out who the best team in the league is anymore because everything is slanted for Kevin Durant. And you still like, my gosh, oh my gosh. If Kevin Durant, I was so, people don't even understand. I will 100% be honest when I say this. This is the same reason why I was getting mad when they say LeBron was trying to get Kawhi Leonard on his team. I was rooting for Kevin Durant. I wanted to see that matchup so freaking bad. And honest to God, I did not care who won. I was finally going to see which one of them would an actual good matchup. The three-pointers versus the inside, defense versus offense. Which one? That was the best possible matchup you could see. The best, this offensive juggernaut who was limited defensively versus this defensive juggernaut that was limited offensively. It was a matchup made in heaven. The number 1 player in the league, the new guy, the shooter, the big who changed the game in his way and being 7 foot, able to dribble and play like a guard, playing with a more finesse game versus the old guard of LeBron James, the big guy who relies on getting to the cup, you know what I'm saying, and athleticism. It's like the new game versus the old game. It was a matchup made in heaven. And then this coward goes and begs 2 more guys. I was hoping that LaMarcus Aldridge went to the Heat. Not because I cared about the Nets. I still thought the Nets, with Kevin Durant, have talent. They have flaws, but they had talent. They were playing a style that could give people problems. Do I think it would have been as valuable in the off if they didn't learn some chemistry with those 3 in the playoffs? No, I did not think that was going to work. And I'm not saying they're perfect now, but I'm saying that if you take Kevin Durant and you put him on that team that they have now, they are virtually unbeatable. If Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant had 17 points last night. And they obliterated the New Orleans Pelicans. Obliterated them. You know why? Because they have such talent. That it does not matter. Half of those shots. You saw Kyrie Irving one-on-one with Steven Adams. Kevin Durant one-on-one with 5-foot guards. It's like, come on. They can't double you. You have taken the event. The one thing that they can do to a star player is trap them. Force them to beat you. Force somebody else to beat them. But when you got 5 other people who can beat you, who cares? Pick your poison. I'm not seeing who the best player is. I'm seeing a team that is slanted and playing on easy. You remember when you were a little kid, right? And everybody would be trying to play the same video game, and everybody would play it on at least average. And you try to get through it so you can see the cutscenes and get to the end. And it's always that one guy who goes and pushes it to easy, and then he goes and then runs through the game and starts telling everybody what's gonna happen. You're like, dude, why you like? I don't want to know what happens that way. I want to actually earn it. This is annoying, dude. You just cheated the system, and now you're trying to talk like you're better than me at the game because you cheated the system. You got to the cutscene by cheating. That's how you're watching Kevin Durant. What championship did Kevin Durant earn? I'm trying to figure that out. What point? And the problem, and this is the problem, and why I go back to these morons, absent of Jenny and Shannon. And sometimes Shannon can be a little bit of thick and a LeBron lover to the point that it's just annoying. But these two, which Chris Broussard is not a moron. Skip is the author of Morons. Chris Broussard is just mad because the Clippers lost and he's been getting humiliated. So he's happy to make some Laker fans eat crow. That's all Chris Broussard is doing. It's petty as hell, but whatever. As I said before, these people are my problem. They take a guy like Kevin Durant and they exalt him and act as if they can't. Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Mono. What the fuck? Mono? His second guy is Rodney Hood. Where's the Mono? I mean, how many players down would you have to go to get to LeBron's second best player? The third best player, you got bench players on the Warriors that are better than LeBron's third best options during that year when Kevin Durant won his second championship. Like, please give me a break. LeBron them still, even the year when Kevin Durant won their first championship, LeBron them was strapped in the cap. They couldn't add anybody, but Kevin Durant them could because they cheated the year before and added Kevin Durant to a team that was already deep. But the Cavs can't add another defensive stopper to combat Kevin Durant. They can't go out on the market and find another big that could exploit what a big, unlike Kevin Durant, Kevin Love, who played with a stretch, who played under the rim. They couldn't find a guy who they could plug in who could actually force them out of that small ball game because they didn't have the money to and no pieces to trade. Because they, unlike the Warriors, didn't get a $20 million superstar because the cap went up that year. So his first championship to me was a sham. You barely beat a team that you beat a team. You went 6 games with the team that barely beat that very same team you won the year before. Then you come back the second year in which everything, your best friend, we find out, Kyrie Irving, decides to leave LeBron high and dry. I wonder why he did that. Decides to leave LeBron high and dry and go to Boston. The same guy who was dancing at the wedding with the team that LeBron beat the year before. I mean, the team that he was supposed to be in a rivalry, and this dumbass Skip Bayless said he was mad because LeBron wasn't taking it serious enough. Yet turned around later and said that Kyrie had no respect for LeBron because that's why he was making fun of him. So which one is it, you moron? Was he mad at LeBron because he didn't care enough about losing, or did he make fun of LeBron because he cared too much? You got to make up your mind. But with morons, as I said, they don't stay to logic. They stay to narrative. So as I said before, his teammate, who's supposed to be his second in command, is at a wedding of a Warriors player with all Warriors players. Decides to leave him in the midst of their championship second go round. Threatens to sit out the entire season with a knee injury if they didn't trade him. LeBron's begging them, look, just bring him back. They decide to trade him anyway. They get back Isaiah Thomas, who's busted. Jay Crowder, who's been on 12 teams in the last 3 weeks. Dwayne Wade, who was a great pickup that they couldn't utilize because they brought in because Dan Gilbert wanted to play all those shitty players that he traded for. What ended up happening? And all of them ended up leaving. LeBron left high and dry. They got Rodney Hood, who's been on 4 different teams. Jordan Clarkson, who's been on 4 different teams. Larry Nance. And George Hill. To go against Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, and we didn't even talk about how deep that bench was at the time. That bench was better than the Cavaliers starters. LeBron took that very same team through the Raptors, the Celtics, but the Celtics, when they had, I think they were like 60-some win team that year. Not a word. Not a word. Kevin Durant wins against that team. This moron comes on the very next day and says Kevin Durant is now the best player in the league. And is flummoxed that people don't agree with him. All these idiots jumped on TV the next day and said Kevin Durant is now the best player in the league because you can't double him and he's one-on-one with anybody he chooses to pick out on the damn court. Yet I'm supposed to act as if I don't see the obvious bias and injustice of it. And people wonder why LeBron fans started to get so angry and why other teams started to get so angry, right? We don't get to see how good the Celtics could have been. That team of Tatum, Kemba Walker, the team that went that went deep in the playoffs last year. We can see how good they are. Right? Why? Because you got a fucking created team playing over in Brooklyn. So that's a year they're down. Joel Embiid balling this year. We don't get to see how great Joel Embiid is. Why? Because you got a created team over in Brooklyn. Giannis. Can Giannis make the step? Damn sure it won't be this year. So we gotta wait another year to see all these things so Kevin Durant can pat himself on the back and get the shittiest championship known to man, just like his other 2 shitty championships, and then he can walk around, because at the end of the day, he doesn't give a shit. Kevin Durant just doesn't want LeBron James to win anything. And then he sat back. Literally, they say he said, this is what Kevin Durant said. If LeBron James is the greatest of all time and I beat him twice, then what does that make me? A fucking coward. That's what that makes you. Okay? That does not mean that you're better than LeBron James because you beat him with 3 or 4 other Hall of Famers. Okay? That does not make you didn't prove shit.
You prove that you can get one-on-one with anybody on the court and score 30 points on fucking George Hill. I'm sorry. Am I supposed to be impressed by that? We can't double you. We can't force the ball out of your hand. If we do, we got to give up 26 or 30 to Steph Curry. If we force the ball out of his hand, we got to give 30 to Clay. And if we happen to do that, then Iguodala gonna be and Draymond gonna be doing their 1-2 thing, giving 30, 40 points. Bro, you didn't show nobody anything. You didn't show anything. That's what makes me so annoyed. As a sports fan, yes. But as a basketball fan, more so. Because that is some messed up junk. You have just taken people's 3 or 4 seasons with people who have been waiting their entire lives to see the 76ers win a championship. Been playing their whole entire life to watch the Chicago Bulls win a championship. They've been rooting for their team, hoping that team. You're a Celtics fan, you've been hoping they can get over that hump. You 76ers, you've been hoping they can get over that hump. You the Bucks, you hoping they can get over that hump. And then this dick rider go grab two all-star, throw them on one team, and then start patting himself on the back, walking him and Kyrie walking around like they the best shit since sliced bread. Cause he can. Oh, did you see what he had? Fucking Steven Adams on him. Who couldn't have done that? It blows. Steven Adams. He has a 7-footer ISO, and they can't help the 7-footer. Because if they come off him, Aldridge is going to knock down a 3. They come off of him, Blake Griffin is going to bump and going to take a bump. You're going to either have to foul him or let him score. I ain't even got James Harden. He's sitting out for 10 days and letting the rest of the Team USA play. So you sitting up here watching this whole situation. And you a Bucks fan? You a New Orleans Pelicans fan? You coming out to see Zion and the man can't even play because y'all scored 120 points in the third quarter. It's like, dude, I'm sorry. That's not what we signed up for. Y'all did, and once again, you're not doing it in the same way. These guys are getting paid by other teams to win you a championship. And before you say, well, I want to bend over. You're taking a narrative and saying it's allowed. Yeah, it's allowed for me to wait until a girl I met when she was 12 to turn 18. It's allowed for me to do that. It's still creepy as hell. If you knew that my wife, I used to babysit my wife when she was 9, and now she's 18 and I'm 38. Or I'm 41 or 42, I'm sorry, you're going to be creeped out like hell. Like, that's creepy as hell. You met her when she was 9? Yeah, it's illegal, but it's weird and disgusting. And everybody has a right to be outraged by that, by how disgusting that is. Especially if it's their sister. That's their teams. You're a Bucks fan. You can't watch. You waiting on Giannis. You love Giannis. You think Giannis is the best player in the league. He can't prove it. Because you decided to not care about your legacy and just throw 8 more people on your team so that you can walk around and do your little laid back holding the MVP trophy like you done did some shit. Come on, Kyrie and Harden. Y'all my friends. We all snake ass niggas. Let's all jump on the same team and win a championship that nobody gives a shit about. Cause we all know they ain't keeping all 5 of those players. There's not no dynasty. They can't keep all those players next year. Give me a break. This isn't a team. This is a bunch of Jews who joined up and win a championship by cheating the system. And I say this to point out this. Kevin Durant, when you see people booing you, and Kyrie Irving, when you see people wanting you to fail, that is their only recourse, okay? They can only hope you fail because that's the only way their team can have a chance. They already thought it when you put y'all 3 together. which I had no problem with because I didn't think y'all was that good by yourself. That's how much respect I had, or the world had, for the three of them. The three of them together, and nobody thought they could beat LeBron and AD by themselves. Nobody, it still wasn't the favorites with all three of them. Do you think there's a scenario where LeBron is on a team with James Harden and Kyrie Irving, and people still believe that he is not, that their team still don't have enough to beat Kevin Durant and AD? No, because nobody thinks Kevin Durant can get out of the Lakers what LeBron James is getting out of the Lakers. AD is a beast. And nobody looking at that is going to think that AD doesn't have the talent to be able to help Kevin Durant. But the problem is the head of the ship. Until Anthony Davis gets to that point right now, Anthony Davis is seen as like 1A. He's still the top. He's still the top dog. He's the face of the franchise. He's just like a slight tier down because LeBron James is seen as the GOAT. So LeBron is more popular. But I'm not demeaning Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is still Anthony Davis. But Kevin Durant is not LeBron James. Anthony Davis is you're gonna get all you can get out of Anthony Davis. You're gonna get all you can get out of Kevin Durant. But you're not gonna get all you can get out of all the rest of the players around those two. You're just not. Kevin Durant is not the defender LeBron James is. He is not the same player that LeBron James is. He's a shooter. He's soft. Okay? He's not LeBron. Giannis don't fear coming down no hole. You see Kevin Durant standing. No, nobody fears him. That's why he's always getting dunked on. Because they see him standing in the middle of the key when they coming down. Ain't nobody backing off. They see LeBron, they fading away. They're trying to step around him. They're not trying to go through LeBron. Kevin Durant, they look at him like food. Yeah, offensively, they fear the hell out of Kevin Durant. Who wouldn't? If you're saying you fear it. But defensively, they don't fear no Kevin Durant. They may respect him to a degree, but they don't fear him. Ain't nobody when Kevin Durant go sit down on defense thinking, we can finally score some points now. I guarantee you they think that every time LeBron come out of the game. Oh, LeBron out of the game, we can get some points now. Cause that nigga, everything we do, he pointing out what we about to do. He pointing out our sets. He pointing out every fucking thing we do. Okay, he's sitting down. Let's try to get a run in while he's sitting down. And what happens? Soon the man sit down. 12-point run. Kevin Durant doesn't change. Whether he's in the game or out of the game, for the last 4 years, the team hasn't struggled or worked. It's been the same team. He's just a cog in a machine. He's not the machine. And I'll say that because, and I know, like I said, I am livid right now because of the mindset that goes into a lot of this stuff. But I've been talking way longer than I wanted to. But this rant session was real. Like, I really got annoyed, and that's why it's like they got like a sentence out, and it's like, like that something clicked in me, just pissed me off. But let's hear what they have to say.
As I can see Skip's pocket square. I mean, this is an embarrassment of riches. Look, if everybody's healthy, Kevin Durant, James Harden, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, everyone. I only see one team out there that can beat the Brooklyn Nets, and that's the Brooklyn Nets. It has to be some type of implosion. Like Kyrie.
Didn't he say the same shit about the Warriors last year and the year before that and the year before that? But no, but we love basketball, right? They're not destroying basketball. But go ahead. Anytime you come into a season, I didn't watch when the Lakers dynasty was going on. You know why? Because I never wondered who was going to win the championship. I lost interest when the Bulls were playing. You know why? Because I never wondered who was going to win the championship. I just knew it was a foregone conclusion at the beginning of the year that the Bulls were going to win the championship. That's a problem. Okay? Yeah, you don't care. You don't have a favorite team, apparently, Chris Broussard. So it doesn't bother you. But if you're a person who is a loyal fan to your team, that pisses you off. Because my team can't compete with you. Why do you have to do that? That's what every fan in America is saying. Why do you have to do that? Why can't you just be better why can't you be what your team needs? Why do you have to always go out and find an embarrassment of riches, as you put it?
He's not in the mental space he needs to be in. He gets tired of James Harden handling the ball and making the decisions. Blake Griffin gets tired of kind of being a role player. DeAndre Jordan is upset that he's...
I thought 2 days ago, I thought that the Lakers were going to have a problem with that, right? I thought they truly were going to have a problem. I mean, the Nets were truly going to have a problem with that. I was like, Steve Nash is not impressing me with how he's using it. Last night, he impressed me with how he used them. Okay? They were not. These guys were not fast break points. Once Kevin Durant got in the game, the whole scope of that thing changed. They were not running up and down the court anymore. It was pass the ball to Kevin Durant. He's going to get the worst possible matchup and force one of them to come help and find one of his 3 all-stars that's standing on the court with him. That shit was disgusting last night. Or his 3-point champion standing over in the corner. And then he making passes thinking people going to see him as LeBron James. Dude, you could have passed it to anybody on the court and they were going to make a shot. You got 5 all-stars around you. I'm supposed to be impressed by you. He's walking out like he's making LeBron James reads or freaking Chris Paul reads. Like, you're not. You're running to the hole, getting ISO, basically pick and rolling or ISOing with these guys are spreading out, ISOing you one-on-one with the worst possible matchup, and you basically just giving them the business. So you can go one-on-one. Because basically ain't nobody on the court one-on-one with the Pelicans last night gonna guard Kevin Durant one-on-one. Nobody. Ain't nobody going on the Pelicans last night guarding LaMarcus Aldridge one-on-one. Ain't nobody on the Pelicans last night guarding Kyrie Irving. Name somebody on that team. Maybe Lonzo. But, come on. Can guard Kyrie, maybe, but that's an easy fix. I throw a pick and roll. I call for a pick, get Lonzo off of me. Now I'm one-on-one with freaking Steven Adams. Hey, Aldridge, come here. You can shoot the 3. Come over here and throw a pick for me real quick so that Lonzo Ball can't go up under the pick. He has to stay with you. Now I'm one-on-one with Steven Adams and I'm all on Sports Center because I'm doing and one shit to a 7-foot white boy. Like, I'm sorry, and it's not that he's white. It's the fact that he's a 7-foot center with bad feet. And you out here embarrassing a guy like you're some type of all-world talent. You are all-world talent, but you ain't showcasing. You ain't showed me shit by doing that to Steven Adams. All it does is piss me off. It's like a bunch of people jumping one person, and then they're acting like they can fight. It's annoying.
Minutes now because LaMarcus Aldridge is a starter. Like, it has to be some type of internal strife or problem for this team to lose because they just have too much. And I've been concerned about it's completely unprecedented for a team to play probably what will be about 15 games together with their big 3 before they get to the playoffs. We've never seen a team do that and win a championship. But I was talking to Kerry Kittles, the former Net, who played in 2 finals with Jason Kidd years ago. We talked earlier this week, and he was saying, look, today's NBA is just so simple where every team does the same thing. It's all high pick and roll or drive and kick, spot up by the 3-point
Thank you.
line, or roll to the basket as a big man for an alley-oop or something like that. Every team's doing it. It's not like 15 years ago where some teams did this, some teams did that, everybody had different identities, and it would take you a while to develop some type of chemistry. Now, and I think he's right, because you saw last night, I mean, Kevin Durant just fit in like he hadn't been gone. When James Harden got there, he fit in like he hadn't been gone. So they can get an open shot every time down the floor because they got 3 guys that can beat you off the dribble and thus you're going to have to double team them or they're going to go all the way to the rim and finish. And when you double team them, they're kicking it to a great shooter in Joe Harris. Now a guy that can shoot in Blake Griffin. LaMarcus Aldridge can shoot. Not to mention KD or James Harden. Like, it is just, this team looks like it could be one of the best teams we've ever seen, let alone the best team this season.
Yeah, they look great. There's no way around it. They looked unbelievable. Kevin Durant picked right up where he left out, where I thought he would, because he's a 3-level player. He can do it all. I think the thing is that you look at LaMarcus Aldridge. He's playing better now with the net skill than he did the last 2 to 3.
Oh, gosh. Who said that? Who was screaming that was going to happen? I had someone tell me on Twitter last night, oh, Aldridge ain't the same player he was. Are you out of your fucking mind? That's why I showed y'all, because I knew the media was going to try to push that narrative, because they always do, because they want you to continue to keep watching basketball, so they try to always act like there's some parody. There was no parody, okay? That's why I showed y'all the highlights. I said, that's not him last year. It's not him the year before last. This is him this year. And I showed you all his highlights against the Lakers, all his highlights against the best teams in the league. That was him this year. And I said, after Shannon Sharp and Nick Wright came on here and said, we got Drummond. Who cares about Aldridge? Are you crazy? Do you not know what your LaMarcus Aldridge brings to that team? I said that. That's why I was so mad when they did it. Because they could have got anybody. I was hoping they got anybody but him. Because I thought if they get LaMarcus Aldridge, season is over. Done. That means they can beat you in any way they want to beat you. Any way you want to play them, they can beat you. And they're going to have the advantage. You want to shoot 3, run and gun, they can do that. You want to go big, they can do that. They got Claxton. You can move KD to the 3, move Claxton to the 5, move Aldridge to the 4, or Claxton to the 4 and Aldridge to the 5. Run with Joe Harris on the wing and Harden or Kyrie playing point. You want to go small? They can throw Kevin Durant at the 5, Jeff Green at the 4. Joe Harris at the 3, Harden at the point, and Kyrie at the 2. You're fucked. I'm sorry. I excuse my language, because like I said, I don't like to use language when I'm angry. When I'm just talking, it doesn't bother me as much as when I use it when I get angry. But you're screwed. You know you beating that. There's no way you're beating that. If they go into a hole and they need to get back, try stopping from making a 3. KD, Kyrie, Harden, Joe Harris, Tyler Johnson, TLC, Jeff Green. You. Kevin Durant, you go in at the 5. Try stopping that onslaught. When they want to be on and their shot is falling, it's obliteration. They'll have 120 in the third quarter.
Spurs. And Greg Popovich probably looking at him like, why can you give us that?
He was giving them that, but the problem at the time was he's not on the Nets. They're not gonna win no championship with LaMarcus Aldridge by itself, so they know they're gonna have to move on from him at some point. So they had to move on from him. The problem with them doing that is they couldn't risk him getting hurt, so they had to play him in small increments and or not play him at all. So instead of them doing what they did with Drummond, which is just pull him out, they waited until they couldn't trade him anymore. And then they did that. Because if he got hurt, you know in the world he's doing a buyout at that point. He can't play anyway. Why in the world would he do a buyout? So that's when they decided to take him out. Same thing with Drummond. When they know they're about to buy you out, they're not going to risk you getting hurt. Because they can save some of the money on the cap. their first thing is to try to just trade you. Once they realize that's not going to happen, at that point when they're trying to trade you, they can't just bench you. Because if they bench you, then you lose all value. They know that they're not going to play you, so why in the world would I trade for someone that you're eventually going to release anyway? So they got to play you. They just can't play you a lot of minutes. They have to play you in short minutes because they want to show your value and show that they're still using you, but they also know that they're going to have to move on for you at some point in that season, so it makes no sense in building the offense around you. They did that to Blake Griffin, and they did that to Aldridge. Those guys didn't get sucky. They didn't drop from 25 points to 15 because they suddenly got sorry in a year. No, they did that because that's what the teams were stymied in their minutes. The team was running their rotations around them, not to help them. But this is common sense stuff. Am I the only one with common sense in the world? I mean, in this sports world, am I the only one with common sense? Like, that's why I don't understand when people couldn't get that. And people still don't get that. Aldridge was averaging 16.2. Are you retarded? You think he's averaging that? Or do you think that had something to do with the way they were using him when they knew they were going to trade him? Like, come on.
He was unhappy with his role in San Antonio.
Why was unhappy, LaMarcus?
Don't do that. No, Pop is the guy. You got Blake. He was a good role player. Blake is
never thought he'd be called a role player, but go ahead.
But that's what he is, Skip.
Yep.
And he's like, well, people said I wasn't any good. No, you stay same player. You just can't carry a team like you were supposed to do with the Clippers, what you were supposed to do with the Pistons.
See what he said? That's what's pissing me off the most about these Nets. They all think they're proving people wrong. This is what can blow. Remember I was talking about WNBA and I said that nutshell is the American female. These guys, in a nutshell, are the American male. Patting yourself on the back for slanting rules. I mean, it's like rich guys with embarrassment of riches, because this is what they do. The rich American male walks around with the whole fucking world slanted to his advantage, and then turns around and starts patting himself on the back for not being a crack addict. It's like, what the hell choice do you have? No, I never thought that I'd be a CEO of our company. You know, my dad thought I couldn't do it. Well, your dad's the fucking CEO. I'm sorry, you may not have seen it coming, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people around you are not surprised. My dad, I proved my dad wrong. I showed up. Everybody would kind of, once my dad died and I took over the business, they were kind of, it was kind of confusing. They didn't think I could do it. Dude, ain't nobody tell you that. Stop lying. Ain't nobody tell you that. You own the company. Who told you weren't going to do a good job? You told yourself that because you didn't get the job. You didn't earn the job. It was given to you. It's the same thing with the championship. You ain't proving nothing. It was given to you. Like, stop it.
You're fitting a role. They got 3 other guys that's going to do the heavy lifting. I love Nick Claxton. You're right, Chris. DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, I told you I was worried about him before that. I was worried about Claxton. I was like, Claxton's good. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, he's done a good job. That's why I was more mad, because they didn't need Aldridge. Claxton was doing a good job. So I was like, you bring Kevin Durant back with Claxton, I don't see that would be a good matchup with the Lakers. That's what I thought. But he'll give up a little bit on the offensive side. You know what I'm saying? But on the defensive side, it's going to be hard. He'll give KD and LeBron problems. But LaMarcus Aldridge not only doing that, he's not even taking anything away from the defensive side. And you see him block like 3 of Zion Williams' shots last night? He was blocking everything.
He's going to get upset because it ain't like he got his minutes cut. He not playing. And then they got, I just want to say his name, Alizé. Oh, Alizé Johnson. You know Alizé? Hey, Chris, you know Alizé for the crib? He's getting major minutes. So they're loaded. Now, Skip, when I look at this, Chris, Philly, after watching them, they're better than I thought, because you know why? They can play defense. They got Tobias Harris that can guard, Ben Simmons that can guard.
I said that. I agree with Shannon 100%. Philly can beat them. I believe Philly can beat them. I believe the Bucks can beat them.
I believe the Lakers can beat them. But they gotta force them to play their game. They gotta slow the game. You know that they're gonna get a good shot going down because they got 5 All-Stars on their team, right? What you want to do against the Nets is you want to force them into half-court offenses, force them to have to divvy up those shots in which they're making decisions every time they come down the court, or who's gonna make the shot, who's gonna do it, and they're so image conscious and so they're all trying to prove points. So as the situation, as you slow the game, which LeBron can do, which Chris Paul can do, which a good point guard can do, slow the game down, chop their possessions in half, make them greedy, make them hungry, thirsty for points. It'll start to get to them. That ego starts spinning. Now they're coming down like, damn, James, how many shots you gonna take? Damn, Kyrie, how many shots you gonna take? Hey, bro, you missing everything. Like, we need these points. Then that's when the ego starts to kick in. And that underlying annoyance starts to kick in. And then people start demanding the ball. And when people start demanding the ball and people start ignoring them demanding the ball, that's when the friction starts. Argument starts. Oh, I ain't playing no defense for this motherfucker to come down there and take 12 shots. Then they fighting each other for rebounds. They fighting each other everybody trying to stand around to get the rebound so that they don't have to pass it to someone else. Team chemistry gets all mixed up, messed up. You can beat them doing that. That's the problem with having that many egos. Right now, this is regular season. I can have 12 points in the first half and not score a point like Blake Griffin in the second half. No, I don't care. If I'm Kyrie and plus at 12 points, if I'm Blake Griffin, 12 points, I'm on here on I'm on a veteran minimum plan here. I'm just really signing up to get a championship. So I don't care how many points I get, as long as I get a championship at the end of the year. Until they start blaming you. It's all fun and game when you blowing out the Pelicans 120-70 in the third quarter. Not as good when you playing the Suns and y'all down by 19 and Chris Paul is walking the ball up every single time. You grabbing it, run back, hit a 3. He walking it down, getting it to the 8, and he getting 2 points. You're like, shit, man, we ain't got enough time. You're going to have to try to force him to speed this ball. But you can't do that with Chris Paul. You can't do that with LeBron. They're too good. The minute you try to rush somebody over to him to try to speed up that dribble to make them take faster shots, they're going to pass the ball. Now you got AD one-on-one. You got Drummond one-on-one. You got Joel Embiid one-on-one. You got Tobias Harris one-on-one. You got Rivers knocking down 3, standing wide open. You got Danny Green standing over in the corner, knocking down 3. And now you like, shit, man. So I'm not saying they're unbeatable. They are beatable. But the problem I have is that they're very hard to beat. When you have to rely, as Chris Broussard said, if you have to rely on somebody to have a mental breakdown, to have a chance, it's not fair. Because you know on paper they should win every single game they play. Now they're mentally unstable. Every person on that team is mentally unstable. All of them are Blake Griffin is Hollywood as hell. Ego like freaking crazy. James Harden is a jerk. Kyrie Irving is just a weirdo. You don't know what his mindset gonna be going into any game. I'm not saying he's a weirdo because he thinks. I'm saying he's a weirdo because he's not really good at channeling his emotions well. He's everywhere. He seems like he reminds me of Ricky Williams. You don't know what you're gonna get with Kyrie Irving. Like you don't know. Because just 2 weeks ago he's like taking 3 days. Now I'm not gonna say the man's wrong for taking days off. Maybe his family has like cancer, or maybe somebody in his family has cancer, or he's going through a situation. So I'm not gonna comment on a situation where I don't know what he's going through. But taking 3 games off just cause, I mean, that's not normal. But anyways, go ahead.
Danny Green that can guard. Joel Embiid, he's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. And Milwaukee with Holiday, Giannis, Chris Middleton. So it's gonna be very, very.
And they beat the.
Mind you, this is my first time hearing this video. So if anybody think I took my opinions from Shannon, I didn't. I said I've never heard this before. I just read that the title that said Chris Broussard, Kevin Durant is so efficient. That's why I clicked on the video. I have never heard this video again. But as I said, truth is truth. Logic is logic. It's not uncommon for two people to meet in the crossing of meet what knowledge is. If you have common sense, you gonna have common opinion. So I'm not surprised that he said that because he uses logic. This one over here, the moron, the one that's yet to speak, is probably going to be the one that has the most moronic take out of all of them. That sang a bunch of one-liners and sang a bunch of freaking hyperbolic statements that make people believe, because he's a newspaper writer. He's the old guard. I'm gonna put a salacious headline out so that people will go and click on the video, or people will read the story that my shitty article that I wrote. So that's what Skip comes from. Controversy. I'll say something controversial and it'll make people want to hear what I have to say. But he's a moron. But Shannon is doing a good job.
They gotta hope the Nets gotta have a couple of bad games.
Right.
I can see the Sixers pushing them to 7 games. I don't know if they can beat them.
Yeah.
But I see the Sixers
it's
can push
possible.
them to 7 games.
Yeah.
I don't know if Milwaukee has enough firepower at the end of the day to beat them.
Same 3 teams I said. I said the Sixers, the Lakers, and the Bucks. Even the Heat. The Heat has a chance too. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, you know what I'm saying? And those shooters they got. Now they got Victor Oladipo too. So the Heat too. The Heat he didn't mention the Heat, but the Heat too. The Heat can beat them. But as he said, it's gonna take a freaking Goliath type effort to beat them. You know what I mean? A David and Goliath type of effort. I mean, because you gotta hope they play bad. It was the same thing with the Warriors. You cannot hope a team plays bad to win, because once they start losing and they know that they're about to lose, then they don't care about their numbers. They just want to win. So when they want to go and win, now all of a sudden it's a situation that, okay, now we don't care about being selfish no more. We just want to win. So whatever helps us win, we're going to keep doing it. And now they're all playing the back and then they're blowing you out again. So it's just a sad situation. It's very, very disgusting and sad.
You've been covering this league for a long time. I have been covering and closely following this league for an even longer time than you.
No one gives a shit because you do a shitty job of covering the league, but go ahead.
You have. In all my days, I have never seen a team this deep in talent. In all my days, you can go back all the greatest teams we ever covered. Nobody has had this depth of talent that the Nets have assembled, because no team has ever had 6 players on its roster who have made multiple All-NBA teams. This is the first one ever. And all the players that Shannon named down the line, it's an embarrassment, as you said, of riches. And I've told Shannon again and again, only the Nets can beat the Nets. Well, now only familiarity could undermine the Nets, because they just haven't played enough together. But I was just dumbfounded watching Kevin Durant, who immediately turned rust to dust last night, because he just walks in and is like, can we see that first shot? He just comes off a low pick and just runs to the elbow.
I saw that shot. That shot was not good. It was a scrubber. He almost missed it. It kind of slid in. But I'm not even going to say that. Kevin Durant's Kevin Durant. He's a shooter. That's one thing that if you're a shooter, you can. It's not like he hasn't been shooting over the last 6 years. Now, I'm not trying to say that it's not impressive that Kevin Durant could come out and do what he did. But let's be correct. They didn't put him in until they had a comfortable lead, because they didn't want to put any pressure on him, right? So they didn't put Kevin Durant in until they were up by 12. So at that point, it's just basically a shooting drill. There's no pressure on him to make those shots. He can get in where he fit in. He's not pressured to pull them out of a hole. Now, if they were down by 12, he probably wouldn't have been 5 for 5 because he would have been pressing. But when you up by 12 and you know that the team that you running with ain't got the horses to keep up with you, you haven't even played yet, and y'all up by 12. You ain't got to have no Herculean effort. Wait on your shot. When you 7 foot and got freaking 6'5", 6'6" guys on you, and your wingspan is like an 8 foot, 9 foot street wingspan, what the hell are we doing here? They weren't doubling Kevin Durant. They weren't pressuring Kevin. Kevin Durant was 1-on-1 hitting these shots. Go watch any other time. Go watch Dame. Go watch Steph. Go watch them. See if Kevin Durant can go 5 for 5 when he's dealing with what Steph does. See if he can go 5 for 5 when he's dealing with what LeBron was dealing with. See if he can go 5 for 5 dealing with what Dame and all these other guys have to deal with when they're the number one options on team. Give me a break. Like, I'm not impressed by that. I'm not impressed by the fact that you can hit a wide open shot over the 5th best defender on the team.
Here. And he just turns around and does what he always does, like he hadn't missed a beat. And
James fucking Johnson, who he got a pick for. Now, he got a pick here. James Johnson, who is a 4, had to run around him, around Aldridge, who's one of the best pick setters in the league, mind you. Aldridge is one of the best pick setters in the league. You know why he's one of the best pick setters in the league? Because he can pick and pop. So if you ignore his pick, and both of y'all try to stay with Kevin Durant, if he tries to stay with what's his name? Steven Adams tries to stay with. Because normally if this is Steph Curry, when he comes around his pick, both of them would have ran to Steph Curry. Then the guy in the middle would have came down to stop the penetration, because most bigs have to penetrate, and you don't respect the big shot. So most of the time you're gonna be like, okay, I'll take that shot over Steph Curry hitting the 3. But the problem with that, when you playing with you doing a pick and roll with Aldridge and Kevin Durant, is either one of them can hit a 3 or a mid range. So now you can't rush. You're gonna have to. He's still gonna get 1-on-1. So Steven Adams can't help and recover, because if he tries to help, Aldridge is going to be wide open. Durant is going to toss it to Aldridge, and he's going to He's going to have a baseline. He's just going to take it to the baseline. You're either going to have to foul him or let him shoot it, or give him an easy 2. And because Adams is not going to be able to help and get back before Aldridge gets around him, he's too quick. So why are you showing this thing where James Johnson, who is not even a name defender to begin with, he has to go around the pick, in which he has to respect and knows he can't get help, so he couldn't stagger, trying to go deep around the pick, because now you got Kevin Durant 1-on-1 with Steven Adams, and you up there. So what can he do? He has to fight through the pick, which causes him to be late on the closeout. Kevin Durant basically has a wide open shot. A 15, 16, 13, 14 year veteran, one of the second best player in the league, and we're happy that he can come back and make a wide open 2-point shots when he's one of the best shooters that the game has ever seen. Please.
Which he is lethal at doing, and he goes 5 for 5, and he has 7 rebounds, and he has 5 assists, and he looked like he'd never left. And it looks like their chemistry is so natural that they're almost arrogant about it in a good way.
They don't need chemistry from what I'm seeing. They have matchups. It's not chemistry when I can pass it to damn near anybody and say, you get 2 points. Now you get 2 points. You like Oprah. You get 2 points. You get 2 points. You get 2 points. You get 2. What chemistry do you need? At any point, you can't leave. That's the funny thing. You can't leave Jeff Green or Joe Harris either. Because I watched Jeff Green. He was the only person LeBron had when they were going on that finals run. And they were talking about Rodney Hood, and I'm like, Jeff Green is the only person that helps LeBron on that team. He was the second best player. Kevin Love, no. Jeff Green was the best player on that Cavs team that played the Warriors without Kyrie. That's why Kevin Durant went and got him. He was the only other person on that team doing something. So this whole mindset that Jeff Green has had a resurgence. Jeff Green didn't have no resurgence. He's been that good. And Joe Harris. I mean, is there a difference between him and Klay? I mean, obviously defensively, but as a three-point shooter, is that difference between him and Klay Thompson? No, he still has a Klay Thompson. He still can penetrate, pass it to Joe Harris, who doesn't miss anything. So that doesn't need to be chemistry, because you can get anything you want at any time you want, no matter who's on the court. You want to put they put Brown in, and they're doing the give and go, pick and roll. He's rolling to the basket. He's a pest.
All like giggling about it. This is fun. This is so easy. It looks like the game is too easy for them, but all the pieces are fitting right before your very.
Now, if it was LeBron James and the Lakers, he would have I would say a slightly different tone. Don't you think? There would be way more vitriol. There would be way more anger. There would be way more accusations. There would be way more slights and insults. Why? Because he's happy, as most Jordan fans are. They don't give a shit. It's like I said about Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. They don't care that it was bullshit. They just want to see Floyd lose. And the same thing with LeBron. He's happy because he's thinking in his mind LeBron's going to lose. And it doesn't matter. All things are pointing to LeBron James making it to this championship against this super team and losing. He's going to be 4-8. And I hope that LeBron, just because I hate Jordan fans, I don't love LeBron as much as I hate Jordan fans, right? Because I don't even, like, to be totally honest, I'm just a fan of basketball. LeBron James just happens to be the best basketball player, and you're forced to have to argue why you believe that all the time, right? And as a person who understands the game, it's frustrating when people don't understand how good LeBron James is. So it sounds like I love LeBron James, but the truth of the matter is that I am so dumbfounded that people can't see why he's the greatest player I ever played the game. It's like when I talk to people about Floyd Mayweather, I liken them a lot, because it's like you don't understand boxing. That's why you don't understand how good Floyd is. Michael J. White said that he thinks Floyd Mayweather is the most advanced fighter there ever been, and there's never a more apt statement than that. Floyd Mayweather is the most advanced fighter we have ever seen in real time. I've never seen anybody so great at hitting and not getting hit in my life. Nobody. There's never been anybody who is as accurate and as quick and as agile and without moving, mind you. Just the science of boxing. I say the same thing about LeBron James. He is the most advanced basketball player we have ever seen. There's so many nuances to what LeBron James does that you don't get until he leaves. LeBron James is no joke when it comes to basketball. Just like Floyd ain't no joke when it comes to fighting. So it doesn't matter. They just want to see him lose. So, and I'm not as I said, I just the reason I say that is because if LeBron, you know how happy I would be if LeBron James beat this team. Not because Kevin Durant is a freaking coward. Not because I love LeBron James, but because to see you see them have to eat crow after they know that the decks are stacked against this man, yet they're salivating at the prospect to use a messed up metric to drop that man. And he wins and ends up turning that same metric around. Meaning he beats this team, and now all those people who were hoping he lose so they could end the Jordan argument don't realize they just gave him the ultimate red herring to beat Jordan. If LeBron James beats this team, there's no more debating. Maybe psycho Jordan fans we're not talking about. I'm talking about anybody who are an independent thinker, anybody who was on the fence, which is like 90% of the newer, younger people. You're like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Jordan ain't never beat no team like the teams LeBron don't beating. Longevity, everything. You ain't got nothing. He'll have 5 championships. He beat all out of his 5 championships. These dudes are freaking Goliaths. No one person that tipped the scale of LeBron and like one other person. All his teams he beat. Had at least 4 or 5 Hall of Famers on him. The Spurs. He didn't even go to the Celtics. The Spurs, the Celtics, the Warriors. The Thunder. Hall of Famers. Like stop it.
I just don't know if the big three have had enough reps together to
Here you go, trying to set up his argument for LeBron beating him. That's what he does. He's a slime ball. He's trying to set up this excuse so if LeBron beating him, he always say, "See, I said, if you look back, I said, they didn't have the chemistry." And this is what he's doing. He's trying to hedge his bet so that if LeBron, this is what makes him such a scumbag. Because this will be a Herculean feat that anybody with any common sense will have to acknowledge. If LeBron James beats his team, there is no debating this argument anymore. But he, knowing that, he just stated this is the deepest team, the best team he's ever seen. Yet he's trying to point out things that he can point out that can give him a heads to go back later and say, "See, I said this." LeBron doesn't get credit for beating this team because they were exact. Everything that I thought could go wrong did go wrong. Well, that kind of means to beat them, they had to go wrong. So he exploits those weaknesses, which makes him great. No. They were weak. They have weaknesses. That doesn't count.
Some kind of playoff adversity because they're going to get faced with they'll lose a game 1 or maybe a game 2 and all of a sudden they'll have to go somewhere else and it's going to be 1-1 at the other arena.
And you have to take back home court by winning.
You have to show us what you're made of.
Right.
You have to under fire show us that you guys can share the ball like you shared it last night. As Kevin said after the game, we just move bodies and move the basketball. It's easy. Well, it looked easy last night because you just obliterated the Pelicans.
Yeah.
So my question is, I just don't know about familiarity. That's the only question I have, because if that doesn't matter, if chemistry really doesn't matter, if it's just natural chemistry, they're going to just wipe out the East, and I fear they're going to wipe out the Clippers in the finals because it's going to be the Clippers winning the West. Yeah.
Well, Skip, you're right. I mean, and that's been my concern too. But as I talk to people around the league, not everyone says this, but more people than not say it doesn't matter. That them playing 15 to 20 games together before the playoffs is enough, which sounds ridiculous because in the however long they've had basketball, we've never seen this.
No,
we've never seen it. The Celtics, when they came together, right?
Bruh, have you guys ever watched summer Team USA basketball? And they'll say Kobe Bryant has a messed up knee, so he didn't play the first 5 games of the Olympics, and then he comes in and he's scoring 20 points, and everybody's kind of joking around passing the ball, and he's shooting
and he scores 15 points in like one quarter and then sits down, and everybody's like, it's Team USA, they're playing Angola. Like, so it's like, yeah, they can do that because they don't need each other. They don't. The Nets play as a unit because they don't have to play individually. Okay? As he said, if you press them and they're playing a good point guard. Ben Simmons is not a good point guard, which is why I don't really know about the 76ers. Holiday is a great shooter and a great defender. He's not a great point guard at slowing the game down. The Nets, the Bucks play an up and down game. I don't think that's going to work to their detriment because the Nets are going to get way too many shots to hope they miss. The Celtics are a good matchup for them because they're gritty and they're hard working. But by the same token, they're struggling this year. If they weren't struggling, I would give them a chance to beat them because they probably have the best and the deepest matchup deepest bench against that team. They're the ones that are going to make them work the most. But they don't have a big that can shoot. So I think if you put LaMarcus Aldridge in there, that's going to throw things off with them as well. And it's going to cause matchup problems for them. That's why I hated LaMarcus Aldridge. Because LaMarcus Aldridge was the piece that basically made them unbeatable. I mean, where are we going to go next? You know, the Heat got a chance. Jimmy Butler, I don't put nothing past Jimmy Butler. Because unlike Kevin Durant, he's shown that he can do what he can do with limited pieces. Kevin Durant ain't never showed that. I mean, the one year freaking Russell Westbrook got hurt, they sucked. He ain't never won shit with nobody. I mean, the one year Russell Westbrook got injured, they sucked ass. The Thunder sucked ass with just Kevin Durant. He ain't never did that. He ain't never had to play with the team that didn't have at least, you know what I'm saying, 2 all-star caliber players on the team with him. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy Butler has shown he can do that. So Jimmy Butler can give anybody a problem. That's with Bam Adebayo and those shooters they got. And Victor Oladipo. Yeah, the Heat can give them a problem because they're well coached. Because they got Spoelstra. And same thing with Doc Rivers in Philly. Doc Rivers, if there's a way to beat them, Doc Rivers will find it. If there's a way to beat the Nets, Eric Spoelstra will find it. So, you know what I mean? That great coaching will come in handy. I don't know about your boy over in Milwaukee. He just kind of relies on Giannis. So I don't. He has an embarrassment of talent, and he just underperforms with all the talent the Bucks keep giving him. I mean, Giannis gets talent. He gets an embarrassment of talent, but in the end, they just end up relying on Giannis. You know what I'm saying? So, but Giannis is good enough to beat them. You know, he can give them problems because, as I said, Giannis by himself can match the point output of at least 2 of them. You know what I'm saying? He can maybe 3 on a bad night. You know what I'm saying? Giannis can go out and give you 40, which would make up for Blake Aldridge and maybe, you know what I'm saying, Joe Harris. But it will be on its own Drew Holiday and the rest of those guys to step in and give them the points to match Kyrie, Harden, and Kevin Durant. So, you know, because unchecked, any one of them dudes can go give you 40 and match Giannis 40, and then those points that he took from them don't matter. So that's the problem. But 76ers, well coached, and the Heat are well coached. The Lakers are well coached. The Clippers are well coached. So, but they don't have to worry about the Clippers. They already done played them twice. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and they're not gonna play them in the playoffs, and they might more than likely won't play them in no championship game. If you're a LeBron fan, I wouldn't be so sad if the Lakers don't make it to the championship game because, you know, this is a 1-year deal with the Nets. They'll be gone. You know what I mean? And LeBron's record won't suffer for it. It'll just be like a misguided year where the Nets pretty much just bought a championship, 1-year championship where they basically had an all-star team. and nobody's gonna look at Kevin Durant gonna be sad and Kyrie Irving gonna be sad, trying to make themselves feel like they're champions when nobody's gonna give them credit for it, and then they're gonna bitch and complain and feel as empty as they felt before they ever won the championship.
And Kevin Garnett, they played all season together, and they got pushed in those first 2 rounds. Both rounds they went 7 games, and then 6 in the conference finals and 6 in the finals. So even for them, it was easy. I think this team has a few things going for it otherwise. One, you can see they all are bought in, at least at this point, right?
Yeah.
Blake and LaMarcus, they look relieved. Like, the burden of carrying a franchise is no longer on me.
Right.
They don't look relieved. This is driving me crazy. They're not different. They're playing the same way. Only difference is that you care about the points they score. If they would have scored 14, if LaMarcus Aldridge would have played 14 points for the Spurs last night, the shit wouldn't have even made the radar. Okay? If Blake Griffin would have scored 12 points and did exactly every single thing he did for the Nets last night, you wouldn't have cared. So the mindset that somehow these guys, where did these guys get? No, you're talking about them. They didn't change anything. They're doing the same thing they've been doing. I think LaMarcus Aldridge had like 15 or 16, and Blake Griffin had like 12. They averaged those for the year. So what are they talking about? Y'all just talking about them now.
To be this role, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
And everybody else, they're coming together at the right time where they've all done great things.
Regardless, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? I don't really want to talk about this no more than I already have. This is my podcast for today. So y'all please comment. Let me know what y'all think. I didn't want to go on no supremely long rant, and that's exactly what this was. An hour and a half long rant about this team, this league, and how supremely annoyed I am. So if you're annoyed, let it be known in the comment section. If you listen this far, thank you. If you listen this deep into it, thank you. I appreciate that. If you didn't, I understand. It's really, really long. I did not want to make a podcast this long, but I ended up making a podcast this long. But please let me know what y'all think. Comment, thumbs it up if you like it, and subscribe if you're not. All right, y'all. Peace.